All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Valencia King on our fourth day of the Northwest Alabama Conference Young Adult Members of the WMS. Today is Sunday, December the 29th, 2024. Welcome, just welcome. We had a very good 3 days of Kwanzaa celebration, and now we're here on our fourth day with an excellent speaker. I can't wait for you all to hear her. It's gonna be a wonderful time to just hear what she has to offer us. Today, we will have our greetings for Miss Thomasine Jackson, our Northwest Alabama Conference president.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everybody had a pleasant day today. And we're in the fourth day of Kwanzaa, and we are so happy. We only got 2 more days to go before the new year breaks in. I hope everybody has learned something and gathered a lot of information about the 7 principles that we're going to be discussing. This is just the fourth principle. So happy Kwanzaa, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, President Thomasine Jackson. Now we will get ready for what we all need to do today. Hold on just a moment. Okay. So we're getting ready to do our affirmation and our candle lighting. And I'm gonna try to do this. Okay. And as you see, you all, we have 3 more days to go. And we're at our fourth one today. And this is our fourth candle. So I'm going to blow this out and we're going to do our affirmation. Sorry. We need to go back and do our prayer. Sister Ernisha, can you go ahead and pray us in?
Um, Lord, thank you for this day, and I pray that what needs to be said, Lord God, you would say it through our speaker, on tonight. I pray that what needs to be received, Lord God, that hearts would be open to receive, that minds will be open to receive, and um, I just thank you, and I give you praise, the glory, and the honor. Um, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Sister Arnisha. And she's stepping outside of the box. Thank you so much for all that you do. And it was a beautiful prayer. Now we will do our affirmation. To build and maintain our own stores, shop, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. May I generously give all that I have to those who can best use it. And may I be open to receive and utilize the resources and opportunities which comes to me. I return. Now we will have our introduction of our speaker. I can say a lot about this young lady, Mashonda Taylor. She has a beautiful bio, a very lengthy ones, and some things that she really did not include in here. Um, but I'm going to briefly go over a few things out of your bio, and then I'm gonna tell my personal experience with you, okay? Is that all right, sister? All right. So, Mashonda Taylor is a servant leader. She always held word in the Woodlawn community up under, at first it was the Woodlawn Foundation, and now it's Woodlawn United. Um, she is a resident of the Woodlawn community. Whoop, whoop, whoop. The green and gold represents. She is the chief executive officer for the Woodlawn United. Um, a purpose-built community network member, a catalyst in the backbone organization for which create place and opportunities and access to Birmingham historic Woodlawn community. The organization has developed high-quality mixed-income housing, cradle-to-college education pathway, a thriving commercial core and community wellness initiatives with over 60 community partners. These efforts has transformed Woodlawn into what it is today. Mashonda, academic background, she has a bachelor's of arts in psychology from, and please make sure I say this right. Is it Lola? Lola? What is it?
Loyola.
Loyola University, New Orleans, and a Master of Arts in Organizational Leadership from,
Gonzaga.
thank you so much, University, and have equipped her for a career in community service. Um, Her ability to access the community needs, cultivate relationships, and work towards collective benefits and evidence in her work with the Woodlawn United. All of the roles that she plays. She
Which
serves as
I'm happy to say that by December the 31st, some of those roles will be finished. Thank God.
she is the commissioner of the Birmingham Planning Commission. She holds a board positions at the Birmingham Waterworks, Jones Valley Teaching Forum, the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, the James Rustin Early Learning Center, the Rotary Club of Birmingham, Civil Rights Institute. Let's see. She's the executive board member of the Junior League of Birmingham in 2018. And she is recognized about the town trailblazers for her philanthropy work in the Birmingham community. What I'm going to say is she was awarded recently for the CEO, nonprofit CEO of the year in Birmingham. Yay.
Sure.
She is also, for those who are the Divine Nine, she is a member of the Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. And I'm sure some of the Divine Nine is on this line today. With all of that being said, I'm going to talk about my personal experience with Mashonda Taylor. We started out in Woodlawn, trying to build the community up together, where I think we really broke a lot of barriers. I would say. Many times I want to give up, and she kept pushing. Many times she was like, "I don't know if we're gonna make it." And I'm like, "We're gonna make it," and we made things happen. I'm just proud of her and all that she does. She's a friend. She's loyal to her work. And believe it or not, Miss Thomasine, she can sing. Yeah, she can sing. So we definitely gonna we definitely would like to hear her bust a tune every now and then. So we're not gonna do it tonight,
Thank
but
you.
we're gonna bring you back so you can bust a tune with us, okay? And with that being said, Mashonda, we're gonna turn this over to you.
Awesome. Awesome. Before I share my screen, I just want to say thank you, Valencia, for calling me. Valencia called me back in, what was it, October? And she was like, I'm getting on your schedule right now. And I was like, you know what? The last couple of weeks of the year, I usually take time off, really just to reflect and spend time with family, because I looked at my flight schedule this past year, and I was on 47 flights this past year, 39,000 miles. And what I did was I had the ability to take what we are doing in Woodlawn and have the ability to have the conversation, not only within our country, but in other countries, about how we are really truly collectively bringing work together in our city. And so at the end of the day, I'm proud of Valencia, because you're right. We have been breaking barriers within the Woodlawn community for the past almost 15 years. And I remember when Valencia said that she was going to run for our community to be president of the Woodlawn Neighborhood Association, and she was very apprehensive. And I told her that she could do it, and that I would have her back. And regardless of her, being in that role or not being in that role, I told her that I would always have her back. And I think when you think about Kwanzaa and you think about the principles, it's all rooted in relationship. It's all rooted in collective impact. It's all rooted in partnership. And so if she's going to call me and say, hey, I need you, I'm going to be there. So, I'm proud of you, Valencia. And even, outside of her official roles, like her being so impactful and so present in our community, she still is the person to text me like, hey, the kids aren't doing this, or hey, why does it look like this in the neighborhood? And I called so-and-so, and then I got in the group chat and I said, like, she's always the one pushing forward and doing the work. And I wish we had 1 million more Valencias in community, because at the end of the day, if we had that, and I think when you're thinking about Kwanzaa and you're thinking about the reason why we come together, our communities would be different. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our work at Woodlawn United. I love the fact that I have Ujamaa, which is the day for cooperative economics. A lot of people think of it from this idea of it's just being businesses, but I also believe that in order to have a strong business core, you have to have strong neighborhoods. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background of into our work and interweave how the principles are really important to everything that we're doing within the Woodlawn community and abroad. So I'm going to share my screen, and this can be interactive. It is a Sunday, so y'all can talk to me at any time. You don't have to be on screen if you don't like, but at the end of the day, if you have a question or you have something to say, please come off mute and just ask it. So I'm going to share my screen. First is going to be a video, and then we're going to talk about how we're basically using the principles of Ujamaa every day within our work. So give me a second. Share sound, optimal. Let's see. Can everybody see?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go to the next slide.
What is community? Is it just homes, sidewalks, parks, and schools? Or is it something more? Community means different things to different people. And to us at Woodlawn United, community is a partnership, one that is defined by a commitment to building meaningful and enduring relationships between residents, community partners, and business owners. That is the power of we.
So community looks like access and opportunity. If you can address the systems and really shift the mindset of the people, everything can change. I think that's the best part of being a part of the power of we. But because I'm in it every day, and because my team is in it every day, and our board is committed to the mission, we're able to get to places that other people can't. So community to me is access.
Over the years, Woodlawn has been an ever-evolving community. It thrived in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. However, the Great Migration and the loss of the middle class, resources, talent, and taxpayer base left Woodlawn with an uptick in crime, blight, and declining schools. The only thing remaining was hope among residents, striving to succeed, often against the odds.
You have the residents, you have the partners, and then you have Woodlawn United, the community quarterback that's helping coordinate all of these efforts.
No entity, not Woodlawn United, navigate affordable housing partners. No one can do it alone. And so it requires all of us working in tandem to do the work of revitalizing communities.
Many of our partners were not connecting to one another before. And so now there's this intentionality. They are connected to this bigger piece.
Our partnership with Woodlawn United, you have to have partners who believe what you believe, and we're aligned in that way. Really looking together to form this coalition of people who are really about community revitalization.
Through strategic partnerships, Woodlawn United is empowering residents to dream again. With a new approach to education, the development of mixed-income housing, business promotion, and focus on resident health and wellness, we create vibrancy across the community while preserving its culture. Together, we're experiencing a time of resiliency.
The power of we is literally every individual coming with their lived experiences, their dreams, their hopes, and literally going on the same trajectory in the same, on the same journey.
The community of Woodlawn is strong. Everybody pulls together to make us truly united. And I think that's what makes Woodlawn really special.
Woodlawn United has done a great job of laying the foundation for the growth and prosperity of the community.
It's positive growth. There's businesses coming in downtown, homes being built, families are enjoying it.
With Woodlawn United and what we have in Woodlawn with our businesses, residents, and our nonprofits, everybody feels that change is happening together.
Woodlawn United embraces the power of we. We are a reflection of the community's vibrant momentum. With more than 5,000 residents, 300 businesses, and infinite growth potential, we define our community, and together, we will ensure it thrives.
Sorry, I had to mute myself. One of the things, gotta love being in a neighborhood with some trains. So when I think about Ujamaa, it's building community together, right? One of the unfortunate things that we've realized in historical past, we've had systems and structure that have been paced around our communities that made it so our communities couldn't thrive, or people could not thrive. And so when I think about place is important. Neighborhoods are the predictors of your lived outcomes, your economic mobility, the ability to grow a business, the ability to have access to healthcare, the ability to have your children grow up in safe environments, right? And the economic connectedness, the interconnectedness piece is so important to that. So it's the social capital and relationships. And one thing that I can say that we've always had within our communities is really strong relationships. We might not have had the financial resources to basically build the things that we wanted to build, but we've always figured out a way, right? And so when I think about our work in Woodlawn, it's how do you take this collective vision of people wanting to have access to opportunity, people wanting to feel safe, people wanting to have access to high quality jobs and opportunity and transportation. And how do you make sure that that happens? A lot of people would say that it's just money doing that and making that happen, but it's actually relationships and actual belief that we can actually do this work together. What I can say, we're following a model. And if you look at the model, Purposeful Communities model, and it's a number of communities across the country. It's like 28 communities doing this work across the country. But the way that it looks is different because the people are different, right? But there are 4 pillars in which everyone, and we realize that if you have access to these 4 opportunities, that you can have high quality, the ability for your ability to thrive. So when I think about it, the community is in the center, right? The residents are in the center. And then alongside that is us, the community quarterback, Woodlawn United. And we're looking at these 4 pillars. So making sure that there's access to mixed income housing. So not housing at just one income level, but housing at multi-income levels. And just making sure that whether you live in affordable, median, or market rate housing, that it coexists with one another and it looks very similar, right? Making sure that people have this social connectedness and not just concentrating wealth or concentrating poverty. The next phase is education. So making sure that you have high quality education from the time a child is 6 weeks old to the time they go into career, and that the community is creating an ecosystem of success. The next phase is community wellness. So making sure you have grocery stores, making sure you have walkable streets, making sure that you're safe. And then the last piece is economic vitality, making sure that people have access to be able to build thriving businesses within their communities, but most importantly, giving access to jobs. So like I said, there are 28 communities doing this work across the country. And we are the brain trust of the experts that are basically figuring out how do you take what community members want at the ground level, and then also how do you change national policy to make it easier so other people can thrive within their communities as well. So let's get to Ujamaa, our blueprint for change. So it's cooperative economics and extended family. It's collective ownership and reinvestment in our own communities. It's shared responsibility. It's building generational wealth through unity. And so I was actually really honored to have this day, because I felt like this day actually really encompasses what we do at Woodlawn United. And so I was like, I could do this other PowerPoint, but I was like, what I can do is like, we are the breathing, living model for what is happening under this particular day. So when I think of Ujamaa, I think about the number of people that I get to see every day that wake up, that live in the Woodlawn community or work in the Woodlawn community or go to school here or even pass through here. But everybody has their intentional piece as to making Woodlawn this best self. So our mission is to serve as a catalyst and facilitator for the transformation and revitalization of Woodlawn in the community of Birmingham, Alabama. But more importantly, our vision is very clear. And this is written with our community members. And it's that we are inspired by the residents, and that we are going to grow a safe and healthy community where children learn and play, families live in quality housing, parents work in stable jobs, businesses thrive, and everyone is contributing to the greater growth of Birmingham. So I think about our strategic priorities. It's mixed income housing, cradle to college education, economic vitality, community wellness. You cannot do this work in silo. You cannot do this work and just do housing. You can't just do education. You can't just build a thriving business core, because at the end of the day, all of it coexists. And every single piece of it touches individuals. And if we don't have one of them working strong or one of them working in tandem, then we do not have strength in our communities. So strategic partnerships, I told you about the model before. We have over 70 community partners working with us in our community. So we've been working for about 15 years. We've invested over $60 million into this community just by Woodlawn United. That is not any of the other partners that have made other investments or additional investments, whether that be individual business owners, people that are renovating and their home houses are coming back into the Woodlawn community. It's just created this now ecosystem of success and opportunity where people are coming back to our community. So we look at all things. We look at the commercial corridor, a safe community. We build leadership development within our community. I'll talk about that with We Lead, and Valencia was in our inaugural class of our leadership accelerator. But it's all of these things where you're envisioning a place where your residents and businesses thrive. And you have to have every single piece of it happening together. So let's delve deep into housing. I know you're probably sitting here thinking, like, what does that have to do with this economic piece? Well, a lot of it has to do with the generational wealth piece. The thing that we've noticed is that within the Woodlawn community, at one point in time, we had over 70% of home ownership in our community. It has now dropped down to 29%. And so the way in which most people have either acquired wealth is through home ownership, or it has been heir property and it's basically been given through a family member, and making sure that they can have access to the generational wealth piece through home ownership. But we looked at it from 3 tenets. We need to stabilize people. So we've done affordable units, we've done market rate housing, we've renovated homes within our community, older homes, because we wanted to make sure we had the historical nature here. We just didn't want to throw up a whole bunch of new houses, because at the end of the day, the character of this community is so important, and we wanted to make sure that we preserved it and we kept it. So when we think about our mixed income housing strategy, Woodlawn United bought over 140 parcels within the Woodlawn community. We used $1.2 million of seed funding to just buy property. And people are looking at us like, well, why did we do that? Well, if we did not do that, people would come into our communities and buy the property up themselves. And the people that have lived in our community and stayed in our community would not be able to stay here. So we wanted to make sure that we preserved land ownership and opportunities for home ownership for the people that lived within the community currently, but then even made it so that we were not pricing people out, but also made it affordable for people that wanted to actually move back into the Woodlawn community. Because we did see a lot of people leave. So we've got 4 phases of housing happening right now, from affordable rental, market rate homes, that missing middle. And we've been very strategic on where we build it. And honestly, we built it next to each other. So I currently live in South Woodlawn, and right next to me is the YW affordable housing. Down the street from me is the Parkwood Station, is rent restricted apartments. But then we're moving into now having home ownership opportunities for people that are transitioning out of public housing. We are intentionally putting people in the position so they could actually have generational wealth and equity be built within home ownership. So, but that's the cyclical nature of what happened with the community. Uh-oh, I might have to mute.
Miss
But that's the
Timothy,
cyclical.
I'm sorry. Hold on. You got something to say?
Oh no, I'm all for, you know, I'm all for this, the neighborhood president. She talking my talk. Okay, she is talking my talk. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I mean, like, we need to make sure that, like in my neighborhood, I live in East Thomas.
Yeah.
So we had all the developers coming over, and the neighbors, they just keep calling me, Miss Thomas, saying, you tell them that your house is worth $1.9 million
ma'am.
because they have already decided what they were going to do to this property 20 years from now, and you're trying to get generational wealth. The developer says, you mean your house and the house next door to you? No, I mean my house. So they start calling everybody. And, you know, it's a lot of little places. My son was saying, we need to do something to try to buy out those places so we can build stuff. But we do have encouragement because Dr. Foster lives in our neighborhood. Do you know Anjanetta Foster?
Yes.
Yes. She just remodeled her house. And
Yes.
we're all like saying, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo.
Yeah.
Okay,
because the other thing is, no, but it's right. And I'm so glad you said that, because at the end of the day, like, I live in a house, my house will be 100 years old next year. But we took this house to the studs, and it is a brand new home, right? Then there's next to me brand new homes, and then there's renovated homes around me. There are people that have owned property within the Woodlawn community, and it's been because the community had been disinvested in, and because there was no equity. So now you're starting to see property values increase. Now it's on us to have conversations with our city and our state to how do we figure out, we grandfather in people in their property taxes so their property taxes don't skyrocket out, so they're not displaced from their community. Because we do want to see economic development happen in our communities, but we also want to see it play out in the fullness. We don't want people, I don't need Miss King or Miss Thomas or anyone else around me having to move out because I can't afford to be here. So I have to think about the full pronged nature of, like, how do I make sure that we're putting the land back into the ownership of the people, but also thinking about like community land trusts, like very innovative practices to make sure that at the end of the day, the land stays in the ownership of community. Because they're not, like my grandmother would say, they're not building it, they're not making any more land. So we need to make sure that we are continuing to buy property, taking care of it, and putting it back into use. Even in my home now, regardless if I have children or not, I'm putting my home in a trust to make sure that all of the women in my female line will have access to this house. Because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that this house is preserved under my family's name. And that I'll make sure that it's taken care of, and that it will continue to stay within my family for generations to come. But a lot of us were not given that opportunity and taught that opportunity, right? We understand the generational wealth aspect when it comes to business development and business growth, but real estate is another piece that we're not having conversations about within our community. And we're sure as heck not telling our children young enough. We need to make, like, you know, don't give me shoes or a bag, give me property. Make sure that you give me property. But next.
So you know, before we go into that, I live in a seasoned neighborhood, and everybody, I'm like the youngest person besides Richard Franklin and his wife. I'm probably the youngest
Richard,
person.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Richard is connected through my cousin, so we're like almost family.
Okay, I'm gonna pray for you. But anyway, so I mean, he's listening too. I know he's on here, but most of the people, I had to tell them that they were 65 and they could freeze their property tax. But then when
Yeah.
I started researching about it, are they actually freezing it, or is it just freezing the state part of the property tax, or does it freeze the whole
It
thing?
freezes the whole thing. It freezes
Okay.
the whole thing. So they should be tax exempt after 65. And I'm making sure that people do that. The other thing that I'm trying to figure out is if you've got a grandparent or a parent and they're 65 plus and they don't want to live in the home anymore, and if it goes to an heir, how do we make sure that the property taxes, when they actually receive it, is not so exponential that it kicks them out of the neighborhood too? So we've
Come
got to
on.
think about those pieces.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, those could be barriers to people wanting to move back into community as well. They could easily go to all of these other surrounding municipalities where it's cheaper property taxes, and they could just be living out there. The thing is, I'm trying to figure out, how do we bring people back to the city limits? Because when we bring people back to the city limits, we get the tax base for our education system to be actually properly funded. We make sure that we get the resources that we need, so the trash collection actually happens on time, and all these other things that are necessary to our tax dollars happen on time. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I bring people back to community? At the end of the day, people would say, oh, you're pushing people out. No, there's over 700, 800 vacant lots within our Woodlawn community. And I know that there are hundreds upon thousands of vacant lots across our city. How do we bring people back? And in order to do that, we've got to figure out a way to work with our land bank, which is an opportunity, but not only just work with the land bank, but figure out, hey, can you help me develop a property? Because a lot of us don't have that arm. I have a whole real estate development arm within my organization that can do that. A lot of people don't have access to that. A lot of it is just education. It's like, can you give me the tools? And when I think of Ujamaa, that's what it is. Give me the tools. Even like every aspect of Kwanzaa, if you give me the tools, then I can go be successful myself. But we have to get the tools. And so when I think about homeownership workshops, when I think about our critical repair program, we're doing credit counseling. We're making sure that post-closing people are proactively proactive homeowners. So you know when the neighborhood association meetings are, you know when the trash is collected. Please don't put your mattress out on a random Tuesday when it only comes at this certain time during the month, because now we're going to see a mattress all month, and we don't want to see that. What are those opportunities in which you're putting people in position to be successful, and they're actually contributing to a greater piece, which is community? But education is the next piece. It's complicated. It has not been, what I will tell you is that I am the person that's education agnostic. At the end of the day, I have a private school, I have a public charter, I have public school education, the traditional public, and I've got homeschooling happening in my community. At the end of the day, they all need to be successful. I don't care what model it is. At the end of the day, parents need to have the ability to choose what's best for their children, and they all need to be held to a higher and greater standard. And so one of the things we built first was our early learning center. So how can a person go to work or have a business if they don't have a place for their children to go? And so it's a mixed income model. At the end of the day, priorities given to Woodlawn residents, then it's to our people that work within Woodlawn residents, and then the feeder pattern of Woodlawn.
Right.
Yeah, because we want to make sure that you've
It's
got
the
a
feeder.
job.
Look, girl, slow down. It is
Sorry.
the Woodlawn. It's the Woodlawn residents, the feeder
Yep.
pattern up to the Woodlawn High School.
Yep.
And then your outskirt of your community, the community that
So
line
then it's
base.
people that work in Woodlawn. 'Cause,
Correct.
look, you're coming to work here, so your kid needs to
Right.
go somewhere, and then it's everybody else. Sorry.
There you go.
It's bad. I was like, you told me 30 minutes. I was like, ooh, I was like, okay, here we go. But at the end of the day, we're going to expand the capacity of the Russian Early Learning Center. There are 108 spots. It needs to be more than double the capacity. Because at the end of the day, we need to make it so our kids have a high quality early learning experience. So when they go into kindergarten, they're ready to learn. And that's not technically been happening across the board. And we just want to make sure that we're having a higher standard when it comes to education, especially when our earliest learners. Next phase, we did partnered with I3 Academy, public charter. At the end of the day, again, I'm agnostic. It was a $15 million investment in the Woodlawn community by Valencia. And there were a lot of things happening before that investment. First Baptist Woodlawn sold the church to us in 2018. There were it was not safe. There's a lot of things happening around there, but one of the first things that we did, bought the property, started working with a critical repair program for residents that owned homes around the school, would be the school, and made sure that they had all the renovations that they needed. And then we started working with the city of Birmingham and built new housing around it. But at the end of the day, we were active in helping with the charter law that basically gave preference to Woodlawn residents because kids were coming from all over the city. And at the end of the day, you want to have education options within your community. I am a product of Ramsey. I had, I was bused from basically the east side to Ramsey, which is whatever. But at the end of the day, what I will tell you is when I go to a Woodlawn High School alumni picnic, one thing I can say is that they have community.
Yes, we
They
do.
have a shared lived experience, whether it's the same walking down First Avenue North to go to this store or going to this grocery store, or and so who's the candy lady. There's a shared experience that we don't get when we send our children to other places outside of our community. So how do we make sure that we put all of these opportunities within community? And so that's one of the pieces that we've been working with. At the end of the day, we will support our children. We have Birmingham Promise interns. We're going to support Woodlawn regardless of what anybody says. Because at the end of the day, we need our children to be successful within our community. Because I'm not only just building a community that I want to live in, I want a community that they actually want to, if they want to go to college and come, I want them to be able to come back to. So that's when we think about education, economic vitality. So that goes straight into Ujamaa. We've had a number of businesses open. We had a number of businesses close within our community. But at the end of the day, we recruited Slutty Vegan here. Most recently, she just franchised her business to a local person within Birmingham, which I'm super excited about. We've got Polaris, which is a small business incubator, Black incubator. You've got Strive Birmingham that's doing workforce development programs. Our bus rapid transit is a necessary piece because we need to get transit in and out of our communities. But most importantly, we're thinking about what are the retail options. We want a grocery store. The residents of Woodlawn have been asking for a grocery store for a long time. And so we're figuring out what is the Yes, we are. We're working on it. Got some interesting models there, but we've been listening to community and figuring out what is the best way to have these opportunities happen within our neighborhood. But wellness is the last piece. We've got a leadership accelerator, and I think this is the piece that we miss out on. At the end of the day, we expect everybody to just know things. But when you don't have the social capital or relationships or access to people that have done certain things within, whether it's business ownership, home ownership, heck, being a parent, like if you don't know how to do certain things, how can you be successful? So one of the biggest pieces that I'm a leadership development, organizational thought, basically, I'm just obsessed with it because at the end of the day, leadership matters. And if we don't have strong leaders within our community and we're not developing them to give them the tools to lead, then we're not going to have we're not going to have growth. So we've seen exponential growth within the Woodlawn community because of the individuals. I think we're on our 4th cohort with We Lead, and we're seeing this piece where people are running for office. You got people that are leading different organizations and they're growing within their careers. They're coming back into the community, working as connectors for us, and just really thinking about how they can be more active. And so we're giving them the tools. It's led by Maisha Hutchison and Jason Meadows. Maisha formerly worked, of course, you saw her yesterday. She was with the Congresswoman. Now she's the chief of staff for Darrell O'Quinn. Jason Meadows, who is the school board president, but then also he formerly worked with Woodlawn United. And he's doing some policy advocacy work broader, but we've got really amazing thought partners and we're really figuring out solutions within community. And so that's been a game changer for us. People are like, why is Woodlawn moving so fast? Because we've got leaders. It's not just me. It's not just Valencia. It's not the people with titles. It's the people that are going on door to door, doing the work every day to make sure that we have growth happening in our communities for ourselves. But when I think about our homeowner rehab program, that number's old. We probably have over 180 different rehab projects, making sure that we've stabilized the residents within Woodlawn. I think to date we've had over maybe $2.5 million investment just in critical repair. Because your home is your biggest equity. That's your greatest economic mover is your home and owning a home. And then engagement. So we've been working with how can you have a strong business core if people don't feel safe? We put smart lights in, smart trash cans. We've got a smart camera technology that we worked with the Real-Time Crime Center. And people are like, wait a minute, you put cameras up? Yep, because our community told us to do so.
Surely
And so
did.
Woodlawn United strategically work with community members and police department. And we've seen a 36% decrease in crime over the past 3 years. And I'll show you what that looks like on a heat map. But we're thinking of blight elimination, working with our neighborhood association. We've got a community council. We've got business association. Everybody's working in tandem together. And then numbers. So we've
Hold
had,
up. I just got to tell, I got to tell this part with the blight situation. She said, Valencia, what are you doing? I said, honey, when they start emptying their trash out on the side of the curb, I take pictures of who dumped it out because they have labels and things on the side of the curb. And I was like, that's public information now. And then when I started posting it up and calling them out, then she said, Valencia. And I said, no, it's public information. And now we don't see that many dumpsters.
yeah,
They dumping all that stuff out because they was like, this girl gonna call us out on Facebook, some
she
form of
did.
social media now. So I think blight has been like a real issue with keeping houses up,
Yeah.
um with just throwing stuff all over the place. It's just filthy. And I'm like, we got to start doing better. And that's part of taking care of your community, cleaning up, around yourself. Don't throw things out your car door. Don't throw cigarette butts out the door. Things of that nature. But yeah, I just had to let you know, like, yeah, how you fussed at me about taking pictures of the trash and
But it
post.
worked. It
It
worked.
worked. They
So
came
in the
out.
past 3 years, we've seen an 80% reduction in aggravated assault, 36% decrease in crime, like across the board. And this is more last year. Over the last 18 months, we've had 10 homes constructed and renovated, 12 We Lead Fellows. It's 40, I think it's up to 40 or 50 now in total. Woodlawn was Neighborhood of the Year. We got a Railroad Chrissy grant, and now we are endeavoring and moving into Kingston with a choice planning grant. So Woodlawn now will be working in tandem and with the Kingston residents to revitalize their community and reimagine as to what it looks like. So I'm really excited over that. When I was telling Valencia, she was listing all those boards. Well, pretty much all of them I'm done as of December 31st, because my commitment needs to be to the Woodlawn and Kingston residents. They deserve my thoughts. They deserve my full attention. And so now we're going to start working over there and working to hold the partner. There are large partners over there. You got Coca-Cola that's got a $330 million facility that's about to go over there. What does that look like for the Kingston residents? Because at the end of the day, that's their neighborhood first. So what do we make sure that they need and that they're being really good community partners to the residents of Kingston?
Yeah, because we still got to talk about that too. That's one of the
Yeah.
things I definitely need to talk to you about because it does borderlines Woodlawn too,
And
and we need to know
it's
what that
Kingston Woodlawn. So the grant is Kingston
right,
Woodlawn. Yeah.
right, that
So
traffic. So we got to
yeah.
work on that.
But I want to tell you, 2021, that was our crime. 2022, 2023. Slowly but surely, we're reducing the crime numbers, and we're tracking it, and we're being really intentional in using data and how to figure out how to keep our community safe. But looking forward, we're going to do more transit-oriented development. So we're going to build more housing too. We've got a grocery store feasibility because we're going to build a grocery store in Woodlawn. We're going to expand our capacity with We Lead to now encompass Kingston. We're going to build on our early learning center and also expansion into the Kingston neighborhood. I'm going to stop sharing because I want to see what y'all see. Hold on. At the end of the day, when it comes to the economics of the work that we do, it can't just sit in business ownership. It has to sit in everything. So what are children taught? What do children see every day? What are the resources that are necessary to get us to the next phases when it comes to us actually having thriving communities? And we've been really intentional about the work. And honestly, the reason that we have the capacity to do the things that we do, because I've got strong leaders on my team, I've got strong community members that are committed to doing the work every day. And we have little wins, and then we have big wins. You know, at the end of the day, it's like 1 minute people are like, oh, we didn't even know something was going to be built. But that's something that we've been talking about for the past 6 or 7 years in our community. So the buildings are one thing, but now it's the growth of the people and making sure that they have access to the resources to make them successful. And I'm going to stop if there are any questions.
Feel free to open up. You can talk. Ms. President Jackson?
Oh, I knew you was going to ask me because I have questions. When you start building up the foundation, is the foundation working as the liaison between the community and the city?
Sometimes. But
Sometimes.
sometimes. And I say that because one thing that we lead in all the other programs that we've been doing. So we've acted as an intermediary. A lot of the development stuff, yeah, that's going to come through us because we've got the expertise, but we're bringing community along with us so they know exactly what's happening. But the power is in the community voice. I keep telling people, like, I can go to our mayor or to our elected officials and say, this is what I would desire in a community. But at the end of the day, when I arm a neighborhood president, a community president, and probably hundreds of people on what should be and how things should be done in community, it has way more power. And we realized that we were kind of getting in the way. So now there's this balance of partnership and relationship between community and Woodlawn United. And we're intentional because we have Maisha Hutchinson on the board, Jason Avery, who's the community president, on the board, and even thinking about what is more expansion to having more residents on our board. And I'm not talking about small board. This is the big board. The board is doing the strategic movement of money and planning within our community, right? And just making sure that we have the right voices in the room. So it's a little bit of both, but my job has been to empower community. And that was one of the reasons why I moved here. You know, at the end of the day, I'm like, how can I sit here and say that I believe in this work and then move somewhere else? And I think it's the intentionality of bringing people back to community. Like, I have vested interest. I have property here. I own land here. My family is here with me all the time. So I want them to feel safe. So I'm sitting here saying, like, when Valencia would tell me something that was happening a couple of years ago, I didn't live here, I could sympathize with her, but I could not empathize with her. And now I can. When I hear a train coming through here at 3 a.m. and it's ticking me off, oh yeah, that's why we're sitting here addressing these trains. Like, wait a minute. I was like, nobody was taking it seriously. When then you wake up and you're like, wait a minute, hold on. This is what people have been talking about.
So
Go ahead.
how many neighborhoods are in your community?
4, now 5. Just Kingston is now part of it.
Same thing with Smithfield, because we're in the Smithfield community, and
Yeah.
over here, they just call me Tree Girl because I'm the one who decided to put the trees across on the floodplain. Because, like you said, I hear the trains, and I didn't really think about it when the houses were there. I guess because they muffled the sound. And I was like, what is that? And sometimes when they're interchanging the trains out, it'll shake the house and rattle my windows in the back. And I got like triple windows in the back of my house. So
Yeah.
so we
so now we need to have a conversation, because now I have a partnership and relationship with Norfolk Southern. So why are they not having that same conversation with the other side?
Because we have what is it? BNSF.
Okay. Is that the train?
Right. It's
line?
Burlington, whatever.
But either way, if we could build a relationship with Norfolk Southern, and everybody told me that we couldn't.
Well, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Representative Rafferty is trying to help me.
He's our representative too. Yeah, he's
right.
great.
And what's the guy at United Way? His last name is Clark. Is it Todd? He's trying to get me with the engineers.
Okay.
So it's like a lot of stuff going on.
But at the end of the day, when I think about Ujamaa and I think about Kwanzaa and what we've set out to build in our communities, we get the restoration of our community. But first, we got to be here. We got to be here.
So why I know at one neighborhood thing when we first started, why don't they just let you try to train the model to other people?
I do.
No, I mean in Birmingham.
These
Okay,
questions
I know.
Valencia said it's going to talk about. Okay. Yeah. Richard Franklin's already been in my inbox about that. Yeah. And he did. I'm ready to train. It's time. We're 15 years in next year. We've bumped our head and stubbed our toe enough to know what is the best thing to do. But the power is in community. So we've opened up our leadership accelerator to not just Woodlawn. We've got now people coming from other communities. In fact, what's her name? Brenda Holyfield, who's the president of Kingston.
Mhm.
Before she was in your class, right, Valencia?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. So before they even started working over there at Coca-Cola, she was like, I need to tell you what I need. And she learned that from
Mhm.
being in We Lead. Those
Mhm.
conversations were starting. She's like, I want a community center. I want this, I want that. And they're like, okay, Miss Holyfield. But the thing that they did not do is talk to the public housing community. That's what Choice is going to do. Now it's going to bring the people that own homes within Kingston, the people that sit within our public housing communities that people historically just don't talk to for some reason. I guess they don't think that they deserve to talk to them. And at the end of the day, we're going to build out a cohesive plan that's not only for the landowners, but it's also going to be for the people that are living in public housing.
Yeah, the work with Kingston had started off when they took the fire station, we had to fight together. The entire District 4 fought with Kingston to build up that fire station 8. And then we realized that at that point, when we started working and tag teaming to build that relationship to get that fire station that would serve all of our communities in that area, we realized that community needed to partnership and have a great relation about what is happening and how it's affect both of our communities together. And I found out that we were stronger when we're together. And
Absolutely.
so and ever since then we often, had chats about what's happening um with each other in the areas. And we look out for each other.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you,
Maybe
we had 450 people from across the country come to Birmingham in April to see this work. And we're one of the best doing it across the country. And I'm ready to show the rest of Birmingham how to do this. It will look different in every community though. And I think the pace will be different because it goes at the belief of the residents. At the end of the day, people in Woodlawn wanted change. That's how this is able to happen. And everybody had collective buy-in and we started working and that's all we did was work.
so. Go ahead.
So based on a framework plan, how much did you deviate from it, or did you stay within the parameters?
The plan is the plan until it's not the plan.
Okay.
I'm gonna just say that. Because
So
things
you
happen,
just
right?
need to move in with me. Okay.
COVID happened. Y'all, I was the COO March 1st. I became the CEO. COVID happened. I sent everybody home 2 weeks later. We were building out a school. I was trying to keep a community alive and safe and figure out like the plan that we originally had did not show for any of that. But I thank God for COVID because it put us in the position to have the collective buy-in with our partners and our community, and everybody was on the same page because we had to be.
Okay.
We had to be. That wasn't in the plan. But now my plan, we used to do 5-year plans. I do 3-year plans. And honestly, I operate in 18-month intervals myself because at the end of the day, so many things move. Now we've got an election cycle that we've gotten because I'm not just doing local work. I'm not just thinking about local politics or state politics. I'm thinking about federal policies. So how am I working with this new administration to get work done in Birmingham around home ownership and job access? It's not just about the 4 or 5 neighborhoods that we're working in now. Now I've got to think about what are policies necessary to move everybody forward.
So I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask this question anyway. And don't look at me like that.
I'm like, what
But what was the most difficult time for you doing this type of work for you, and how did you overcome it, or have you overcome it?
I think the most difficult thing for me was seeing something and having a clear vision and figuring out how to bring people to what I saw. Like I saw the end. I see the end. I know what it looks like. So now I have to bring people alongside me on the journey. And sometimes I got to go slow. Sometimes I got to go fast. As simple as you said, Valencia said, slow down. You going too fast. Okay. I have to go at the pace in which people are ready to go. Because in my mind, there are certain things that I've already completed and I'm waiting on the belief or I'm waiting on the resources, but in my mind, it's already done. So I've had to figure that out, but I've had to learn to be really patient when it comes to that. Because sometimes I'm like, we could go faster, but I also know that we can only go at the pace of our belief, but also the pace in which our residents are ready to go.
Thank you. Anyone has any more questions for Mashonda?
They probably like, it's Sunday.
they probably ready to rest because some are
Right.
going back to work.
Right.
I'm giving the last go round and then we're going to start having remarks. Anybody else have anything they would like to ask Mashonda while she is on the call?
Miss Valencia, this Richard. Hey, Mashonda, how you doing?
Sure.
Hey.
Okay, I just wanted to piggyback on because I've been asking you this from the beginning. Um, may I make a request that you talk with me and Miss Thomasine at some point, and
Yeah.
we have community people in our Smithfield community where we go ahead and get trained so we can start this model throughout. We've been saying throughout the city, but it can start in our community. We have enough people that we see the work that you all and you have done in Woodlawn, and we just need to replicate it here. I know personally that nationally they get you to do all the presentations and train, but I think it's time to just go community by community
Yeah.
with this training.
Okay.
January 21st, 6 p.m.
You put a date. Okay. All right.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
that's how Valencia got me. I'm pulling, hold on.
January 21st, 6 p.m.
Okay, what is this? Where am I going?
You're going to East Thomas neighborhood meeting.
Okay. Okay.
I will
6
send her
p.m.
your email.
Okay. She'll send it to me. I'll be there.
Okay.
This is how it starts. I have people from Selma. Y'all, I got people from all over the country. We had people from Brazil come. That was crazy. When people are like, yeah, I was like, we have about 8,000 now, including Kingston, that we're working with right now. And one of the representatives from Brazil, she's like, yeah, my community is 1 million or 2 million. And I was like, girl, I I only have 7,000. She's like, if you can do it for 7,000, you can do it for 1 million or 2 million. And that changed my worldview and my perspective. So I know that if we can do this here in Birmingham or in the Woodlawn community, I know we can do it across Birmingham. And that's why our mission is very, very specific, that we're not just Woodlawn by itself. We are contributing to the greater growth of Birmingham.
Well, thank you, Sister Mashonda Taylor, for your expertise. You did an excellent job in breaking this thing down. And we just appreciate you and all that you do for the Woodlawn community and for the community as a whole in Birmingham City. With that being said, we're going to do some remarks. First of all, I would like to, Reverend Rose, our Northwest Alabama Conference President, where are you? Is he still here? Reverend Rose, are you able to speak?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Would you like to say something?
I just want to say thank you so much for the invitation, and I really enjoyed this. Ms. Taylor, wonderful job. And I had to get your information from Valencia, because there's some things over in Oxmoor that I would like to share as well. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Ms. Thomasine Jackson, is there anybody?
Thank you so much, Mashana. Mashana, is it right there, right? Mashana, is that how you pronounce it?
with a D.
Mashonda.
Mashonda.
Well, I think most of the people on the line, they probably want to know how we can build the church as the center of the community. Okay, like we have Daniel Payne Plaza. We go out there and we do events and things. Now people know Daniel Payne's Plaza is there. So we're trying to make it to be the hub of Pratt City. So I don't know how that's going to work because they already have what, one, two, three subdivisions out there. So they have homes and things, but they're in a food desert.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I think that's one of the things that everybody on the line probably
And
wants.
Tornado Alley too.
Huh? What now?
And a Tornado Alley too.
Right.
Yeah.
Tornado Alley. Yeah. Right. So that's probably what most of the
Yeah.
people want to talk about.
I've got access to, so one of the things that's so great about being in this work is I'm connected to so many people across the country doing the work, and they're doing
This
it
thing
in
was
different
loud.
ways.
Mhm.
Omega CDC in Dayton, Ohio started out with a church ministry doing the work. They got a Promise Neighborhood grant. I think it was, God knows how many million, five or 7 million a year. And they started building out what it is they're doing as far as like holistic community development. And it was rooted in education. I would love to connect you to them because like if I don't know it, I know someone who does.
Okay.
And I'm not the person that's going to be sitting here like, yeah, I'm the knower of all things.
Right.
Nope. Things that I do know, I know very well. But when I don't, I go find the people. So I would love to connect you to some different groups that are doing the work. There's Jubilee Park. It was started with the church as well in Dallas. It's one of the things. That's why I travel so much too. I like to go see the stuff. So I would love to connect you with some of my partners across the country that are really impactful and started off in ministry and they've just spurred out and they're doing really phenomenal work.
Okay. So we thank you so much, and we look forward to you coming to East Thomas on January 21st at 6 p.m.
Amen to that. Miss Jackie, I know that you're on here. I'm so sorry. Where are you, Miss Jackie?
I'm here.
You would like to say something, Miss Jackie?
No, it's just been enlightening. I'm just thinking, I mean, all the stuff seems really good that she's talking about. And I'm thinking, how can we get this going around here in Auburn, Alabama? Because you're all talking about Birmingham. And it just seems like something could be done here to pull us together.
Yeah. I've got some people that way too. So
She
No,
is.
yeah. Let's Valencia, I don't know how you want to do it. You could share my information and I could just like piece it out.
Send me your what you do is because I think you got a digital business card, don't you?
I
Send me
do.
the digital business cards and I will share it with the conference and
Okay.
with all of the conference because we Miss Jackie is the Northeast WMS president for her conference, and then Miss Thomasine Jackson is the Northwest. So I'll just share it with our president, and she will share it with everybody that needs that information.
And then we have is Valerie on here? She's from Tuskegee.
Mm-hmm. Miss Valerie.
And then
yes,
we got
I'm here.
and then we
I'm
have
driving, but I'm here.
but we got Dr. Love from Huntsville.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all over the place.
Oh, I know.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, I was like, y'all trying to have me travel in the state of Alabama. I was like, I'm not gonna get my sky miles this time. Y'all gonna have me in the state. That's fine.
You get your road miles.
Well, that's because when she goes out, she never bring me nothing back. So now I got to keep her in the
I
state.
bring you me. Look,
girl,
it's all this knowledge. Look, I'm the gift. No, I'm joking.
Oh, that sounds like something I said earlier. But
You
let's
did.
move on. Oh, it's truly a blessing, and thank everybody for joining in as always. Richard Franklin, the president of AFT, I'm so glad to see you. If you would like to say anything, you can say something before we do our missionary benediction. If you would like to say something.
I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me to be on. It was very enlightening. It's always a joy to be with my AME sisters and just getting information. Thank you, Ms. Mashonda, for always bringing great information, and I look to a partnership and continue the work that we do.
Well, with that being said, everybody can unmute yourselves as we say the missionary benediction. Let's see. Is everybody unmute? Okay, awesome. In the name of the triune God, may the spirit of Christian mission enter every heart. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
You all have a good night and see you on tomorrow at 7.
Good
night.
Thank you.